All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I know we're 30 minutes to noon, but I'm hopeful for the afternoon. So we'll say good afternoon and thank you for joining me. I am Dashanika Poindexter, and we will be having the Spring into Healthy Congregations webinar. If you remember, in I believe January, we had a webinar that showcased some of our Healthy Congregation churches, just to give you guys some ideas and to connect with each other. This is very similar to that webinar. This is also a time for you all to connect and to hear what's going on with other churches and to really just glean and get ideas for your renewal applications and for the next grant season. So today I have two churches presenting, and we also will be highlighting a special grant opportunity that would be our bike share. Before we get into it, before we dive into the agenda, I do have some important dates for you guys to take account of. So the Healthy Congregations renewal applications, that will be the HC report, the needs assessment, and the work plan, are due on June 30th. Our upcoming virtual office hours with Judy Johnson will be taking place May 2nd from 10 to 12 and then also from 2 to 6, same day. Our Faith and Democracy Special Grant Opportunity Team Leaders Meeting will be taking place Tuesday, May 17th at noon. And then also our newest special grant opportunity, which would be mental health first aid training. We have some open dates for summer and fall. I know those filled up pretty quickly last quarter, and so we have more dates. And so some open dates are July 29th, August 4th, and August 31st, September 1st, and September 30th, and then October 4th and October 28th. And then lastly, which I'm really excited to announce, is that we will be having a sermon guide retreat. If you know, we've been publishing some sermon guides this year. We had a sermon guide for Easter. We have one on mothering, and we even have one that's coming up on early childhood and development. And so this sermon guide retreat will be virtual, and it will be for lay leaders and pastors to get together and just think through these sermon guide materials and see if they can be helpful for you on Sundays. So look forward to that. More details are coming. We're still trying to put all of that together for you all. The sermon guide retreat will be a special occasion because typically we would have intersections of faith and health conference, which we haven't had in a few years due to COVID. And we would have had our Healthy Congregations in-person retreat, which also hasn't happened because of COVID. So we're hoping that this sermon guide retreat will be another opportunity for us to virtually get together and be in community. So with all of that said, I think that we can go ahead and get started with our special grant opportunity. As I said, we are highlighting the bike share program, and I have Marcia Davis with me today, who will be telling us more about that special grant opportunity. Let me go ahead and pull up your slides. Let's see, give me a second here. You guys get to see some of my messy screen. Okay. And Marcia, just feel free to let me know when to advance the slides and I can do that for you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me here today to share this awesome opportunity for healthy congregations. You can go ahead and advance it, I guess. So I'm Marcia Davis, and I work for Thrive Allen County in Iola, and we are a nonprofit health and wellness, economic development nonprofit that focuses on, well, I guess our mission is that we want to make Allen County the healthiest county in the state of Kansas. And so we do that by, we're working on transportation and housing, care coordination, creative placemaking, and then of course our trails and our bike share. So in the last, since 2017, we have developed over 60 miles of trails in the county. And so a byproduct of that was our bike share program, which is a free bike share program. People can just check them out and use them and then bring them back. When this was first started, they looked into the bike share where you put your little credit card in and you have to pay a little fee, but we found that that really wasn't a good fit for Allen County because Allen County is typically poor county, and we really wanted people to have access to the bikes for transportation. So currently our bike share, we have about 50 bikes in our fleet. We have 9 locations, 6 locations in Iola, and then we also have bikes in Savonburg, Kansas, La Harpe, Kansas, and one other community, Moran. So since Thrive Allen County works with the whole county, we also try to get our programs out to all the other cities in our county. And so like so that's where we have all the bikes, and they're just free to check out. Someone comes in, shows an ID, and fills out a little release form, puts down their information to like their address and phone number and all that we can contact them. And then they can take the bike. And we send them away with the bike and a bike lock so that they can lock the bikes up wherever they go. Some of the bikes do have the baskets on them like you see, but not all of them. Okay, next slide. So if you sign up to bring this to your community, you have to be a healthy congregation, and what you would receive is 5 bikes. We usually use the cruiser style single speed bikes. We find that those are easy for people to ride and also easy to maintain over long periods. And with the thicker tubing, they're really, and the thicker tires, they're more durable. So you get 5 bikes, the five locks, and a bike rack to lock the bikes up to. We also work with you with a Google Docs, so for the checking out the bikes. Signage, we will also get some signs, and then customized waivers for you to use, and then tech support from us that you can call us if you have any problems or questions, and we will work with you ahead of time to go over all this and help you pick out bikes and locks, and if you want baskets, different things like that. We also we can do those like Zoom meetings ahead of time, and then when it's all set up, we will come to your community, deliver the bikes, and have like a ribbon cutting at that time. And so if you're interested in this, you just have to fill out a short application and then get approved. So when we started our bike share program, we thought the bikes would be checked out for like if you were having visitors in the community, or a group, a youth group or something might be going on, wanting to do a bike ride, and maybe some of the kids don't have bikes. So this would be an opportunity for people to check out bikes to use for recreation. But what we have found is that our bikes are more used for people to check out to ride their bike for transportation to get to work, to get to a doctor's appointment, maybe go to Walmart or the grocery store. So they're being more used for transportation and not so much recreation. And another cute little story is that early on, there was a gentleman here in town who was having a heart attack. And he was telling his niece or somebody who was with him that he was having a heart attack. And she was saying, well, we got to call the ambulance. And he was saying, no, we can't afford the ambulance. It's like, well, we got to call the ambulance. You know, how are you going to get there? And he kept saying, no, I can't afford an ambulance. I can't afford an ambulance. So I'll ride my bike share bike. So he rode his bike to the emergency room, and yeah, he was having a heart attack. And so the doctors were like, you should ride your bike, you know, you could have died or whatever. And so we really don't recommend that the bikes are used for that purpose, but sometimes, you know, people get creative on how they're going to use them. Okay, next slide. So what some of the responsibilities for the churches would be is to create a partnership in the community. So that might be with like a coffee shop or a local business or something that where you can put your bike rack and the bikes out of, and that they would run the checking out of the bikes. Typically, we like something that's going to be open 8 to 5 or something like that, so that the bikes are available. And then, of course, maintaining the bike. So once again, maybe partnering with somebody who has some knowledge on bike repair. The single cruisers are really simple repairs. Usually it's flat tires is what we deal with the most. Sometimes we have to go pick up bikes because they don't get checked in, or somebody will say, hey, I saw a bike share bike at such and such address, and it's not locked up, or it's been sitting there for 3 days or something. But mostly it's just flat tires. And then also tracking the checkouts on the Google Docs. So that'll help. We can also, or you will send a report to us yearly, and so that we can track that the bikes are getting used and that the grant is fulfilling its need with usage. And then also managing the waivers and signing up for the program for a year. We also recommend, like, our bikes are yellow, so that's pretty easy for the community to know that that is a bike share bike. They have stickers on them, and they do say that also, but pretty much everybody in the community in the county knows that the yellow cruiser bikes are bike share bikes. So that makes it easy. So these pictures are at the college here in town, the community college, and we have lots of bikes out there. The students are very good users of our bikes. They take care of the bikes and they check them out day after day. And so right now we are also working on a extended checkout where maybe you could check them out for a week or the semester if they're needing to use it every day for transportation or to get to class or something like that. We have found that, or we typically check them out for 24 hours and then they're supposed to bring them back. But if we find a user that is checking them out continually day after day, that we will work with them where they can just call in and say, I want to check out my bike, or I need a bike for another day. And then we just recheck it out to them. That way that helps them from having to come back to the office and check it out. But it also helps us to keep track of where the bike is and that it is getting used. Okay, next slide. So some of the benefits of the bike share or a bike share program is increased opportunities for exercise, bringing groups together. Like this is a youth group that they wanted to go on a group ride, like I was talking about earlier, but you can tell only some of the kids had bikes. So then they were able to check out some bikes with the bike share so that the group could still go on their ride and everybody had a bike. So you're lifting up the individuals that might not have the same equipment or the opportunities because they're lacking equipment. And just helps bring your community together with having this bike share in your community. Okay, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so this is my contact information if anybody is interested in doing this. Like I said, it is a super easy application, just a couple pages. And this is hosted through the United Methodist Healthy Ministries Fund. So, but we do call it a grant that you are applying for, and that we are giving to your community and your church group. So once again, we just like to see the church that's involved and partnering with somebody in the community to help bring this to your area. And we've branched out and we've brought this bike share to Colby, to Baldwin City, Ottawa, Richter, which is close to Ottawa, but just a tiny, tiny little town. So, you know, big and small, this all works for communities. It doesn't matter what your size is. Yeah, does anybody have any questions?
This is Cinda at West Heights United Methodist in Wichita. So no helmets. What do you? Helmets, because that was kind of our. Because we're not involved. We couldn't. Our insurance company wouldn't pass us. But
right. We recommend that people have helmets, but that's more
personal.
Yeah, personal and individual, because bike helmets are all different sizes. And
yes, that was the problem. Yeah.
And then you have people putting them on their heads, and then health hygiene issues and all that. So we haven't really figured out the helmet situation, but we highly recommend that the riders do wear a helmet.
Any chance that there would be funds available for frequent riders to, maybe have their own?
To help people purchase, the frequent riders purchase them? Good question. I don't think we've addressed that yet, so I will look into that. Yeah.
Okay. How many do you have involved? Of course, you have 50 bikes, but how many people at large do you service with the bikes? I love the idea, and you're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah. By far, the college is our heaviest user.
Okay.
They had 10 bikes out there, but now we're trying to expand that and get them 20 bikes. As far as it's hard to say how many we have, because it's real seasonal too, as when people are riding them. I would venture to say that during the summer and summer months, we have, I bet 40 of those 50 bikes are checked out.
Wow.
Yeah, and once again, those are spread out in 9 different locations. So yeah, it's all different people. College kids are riding them. Kids are riding them. Adults are riding them to, like I said, transport themselves to work and for transportation. Yeah, it's a really fun program, and very heartwarming to be able to offer it to the community and hear their stories. And
how long have you been doing this? Did I miss out on that?
Since 2017.
So, okay, maybe you mentioned that. So much organization. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you so much for your presentation. I did say that we're going to put some questions in the chat box, but I think it would be better if you have a question, you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask. Marcia, the question, I think that would just increase our dialogue with each other, because I do want this to be most helpful for you all. So if you have a question, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. We do have plenty of time today. We are ahead. So if you have a question, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask.
Well, Gary Brooks from Aldersgate, just up the street from West Heights in Wichita. My question is, how much do these bikes cost? Yeah, just thinking about, it's difficult to maybe have a bike share program, but perhaps a trouble-free bicycle could be purchased by a healthy congregations unit to help someone have transportation.
Mhm.
So, Pastor Brooks, so this Bike in the Box program is one of our special grant opportunities. So all you would need to do is apply, and then with that grant, you will be able to be in the program. So it would be at zero cost to you for the most part. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure if you're asking like just for knowledge, how much the bikes cost individually. I don't know if maybe if that's your question, or
Yeah, but kind of both of them. I was just
okay.
curious.
Yeah, so the bikes usually, of course, it kind of depends on where you purchase them from, but they $400, $500 bikes, because once again, these are getting used.
Right, you need a good bike, and
Right.
and the possibility of them getting trashed or ruined could be significant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like Dinesh, she was saying that once you apply for this and if you get accepted, all that is included in this grant, the bikes, the bike rack, the locks, that's all provided for your community in your church.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Marion Jones, and I'm from Redding, Kansas. So we're a very small community of about 150 people. So we definitely need to collaborate with maybe a bigger location. And I wonder if any of the Emporia churches have reached out to be a part of the program, that I could maybe piggyback on them.
I don't recall if any church from Emporia area has done.
No,
We have.
I'm Joanne Parks from Emporia Grace, and the city of Emporia has this program.
Oh.
So we did not consider, doing it, but the city has it. They also have, they just started scooters. So they have scooters and bikes both. So we did not consider it. That's just to answer the lady from Redding.
Thank you.
So
I heard something about insurance.
Yes.
Is the insurance covered? What's the insurance side of it? This is Patsy from Newton.
Yeah. That's sort of up to the church to look into. That's not part of the grant process.
Okay.
But we do have bikes that are in communities. Savinburg is just a community of about 75 people. So we do have bikes in really small communities.
Yes, that would be good.
I guess West Heights needs to recheck our insurance, because our understanding was that our insurance company would not, the liability of it was not acceptable for us, but we can retry.
Yeah.
Do we have any more questions? Okay, if we don't have any more questions about the Bike in the Box program, we can go ahead and move on to our next presenter, which would be Pastor Brooks from Aldersgate UMC. And I'll go ahead and get your PowerPoint ready right now.
Okay, thank you. Yes,
You're
I'm
very welcome.
Gary Brooks, senior pastor at Aldersgate United Methodist Church. We got into healthy congregations 4 years ago, and we participated for 4 years. And it has been quite successful, and started as a very small group, but is beginning to grow in its influence in many ways. And one of the things that we target is the physical, spiritual, and social determinants of health, and how we can enhance those within the church through the healthy congregations. And we've gotten a grant for 4 years of $1,000 each year, and that money has been put to good use. Our 2021 work plan has been cooking with Christ as an emphasis, as we have come out of COVID. That is one that we're seeking to revitalize, and currently we're working on a video with preparing meals, healthy meals, and making it available, and hopefully doing some work not only in person now with people who might come to a demonstration on cooking healthy snacks or a healthy meal, but also taking some time in the worship service where we can show clips of a video, or use it during children's time, or a part of a sermon. And I think that's something that we're really looking forward to implementing this summer and in the fall. We've also, next slide, one of the things that we have been working on is with a Girl Scout who has been working on her Gold Award project, and is an active young person, now going to be a college student at WSU in our church. And she saw this prayer labyrinth that we have had on the east side of the church, created many years ago by a Boy Scout, actually. And it wasn't used, and it was weed infested, and the gravel made it difficult to walk on, especially for older people. And well, I didn't even want to walk on it because you could turn your ankle. And so it had fallen into disrepair and disuse. And she pulled together teams of people and put together a plan. Healthy Congregations helped her with this because of the spiritual dynamic, the spiritual health that we want to convey. Next slide. And today, the prayer labyrinth looks like this. And it is being put to use. You can see around the path, there's some memorial bricks. There's also bricks that are purchased in honor of, as well as memory of. And kind of at the top of the picture, there's a big rectangle area, and a bench has been purchased and assembled, and it will soon be placed out there to kind of rest on. So you start the path and you work your way around, end up at the cross. And we're kind of looking at the top, from the top of the cross. And so this has been a wonderful addition to the ministry at Aldersgate. Just inside the door to the church that goes to this area is a stand, kind of like a kiosk, with a brochure, a plastic brochure holder that has the brochures for what is a prayer labyrinth, how the prayer labyrinth can be used, and ideas for praying the prayer labyrinth. And when we make this available to the public so that they can approach it from the outside, we can put that kiosk outside the door. It's in a weatherproof container. So we're pretty excited about that. One of the things that we are thinking about doing this summer, haven't actually scheduled the date exactly yet, but to offer the prayer labyrinth as an option during a worship service. Not everybody has the ability to sit through a sermon. I'm not sure I have the ability to sit through every sermon. And so we want to make it as an option for, say, several folks to have a volunteer lead them through a prayer labyrinth experience, so that, say, after the offering, when the scripture is read and then the sermon is given, those people would then go and meet with a facilitator at the prayer labyrinth, which is probably less than 100 feet from the sanctuary. And they would do a prayer walk, and it would be a guided meditation. And so we're hoping to make that available maybe on a regular basis and see how people can use that, because we believe that if you improve the spiritual dimension of your life, then your physical and mental health will improve as well. So we're pretty excited about these options. And not too far from the prayer labyrinth is a little playground area. So if a parent comes and participates in a prayer labyrinth experience, our nursery attendant can take the children over and play in the play area. It's all out there on the same side of the church, and it's observable. The safe gatherings plan can be easily observed, and we're looking forward to how this can help. Might even combine not only a Sunday morning, but also some activities that we would use the prayer labyrinth with a cooking for Christ presentation, so that there would be multiple options for people to participate in a healthy endeavor on an evening. Next slide. One of the inspirations for our Healthy Congregations ministry is the woman in the bright yellow top. This is her and her husband and her 2 children, and they paused on a bicycle ride that they had taken to have someone take their picture. Shelley Rich is her name. She would have been on this webinar if she hadn't had a major conflict with her work. So I offered to do that, but I'll tell you what, Shelley Rich has been a major inspiration in the founding of our Healthy Congregations ministry team, the whole program, the developing of the work plans, and inspiring people to participate. Her enthusiasm probably is unmatched. And that's a part of the success that we have experienced with the program. If you're enthusiastic about what you're doing, others will catch that as well. Just like a sermon, if the pastor's not too enthusiastic, everybody's going to fall asleep. So we really appreciate the leadership that Shelley has given, and we're ready to sit down and work on our next work plan for the upcoming year, because we intend to continue working on the Healthy Congregations program. One of the things that she has helped lead us into, and that is a part of the our work plan currently this year, is what we call the Good Neighbor Experiment. The Good Neighbor Experiment is a part of the neighboring movement that has developed in south central part of Wichita. And it's started by United Methodist clergy that have had a passion for neighboring. And it is supported by member churches as well as grants that they have received. But the Good Neighbor Experiment is one where we work on finding ways for us as a church to be good neighbors. Now, the Bible says, love your neighbor. Well, that's pretty broad. Yeah, we should love everybody. The neighboring experiment has helped us connect with our literal neighbors, the folks that are in our neighborhood around the church or in the neighborhoods around our homes. Everything from baking cookies to just getting acquainted. And our church has been friendly to our neighbors, but we don't really know our neighbors. I can tell you now, we know our literal neighbors within a several block area much better than we did. And we get fewer complaints from our neighbors about the noisy youth that have activities here. And when we had shut down for COVID, we were having some parking lot services with PA systems and that kind of thing. And the neighbors don't always take kindly to that. And so we participated in the Good Neighbor Experiment, which basically means a team of 6 to 8 interested persons coming together on a weekly basis to be trained in a lab experience and what neighboring means and what it can mean theologically and for connecting with the people in our own little village. It also has been a wonderful opportunity for small groups. We have had in the last year 6 small groups in our church, and we should have some. We're a larger congregation, so we should have a bunch of small groups that respond. But 6 small groups have been studying the materials that the neighboring movement has put out as a part of the Good Neighbor Experiment. And part of that study is not only to be good neighbors to those who live near us, but also to people in our church. Like just get up and walk across the room and get acquainted with someone you don't know, or finding ways to connect with interests and talents. And that I think is one of the strategies that Aldersgate is using in a post-COVID environment where people are looking for connections that are safe, not necessarily in large groups, but they're looking for connections. And this can have impact not only with just getting acquainted with people, but providing spiritual encouragement and enabling people in safe ways to participate in mission connection, mission projects. And so we're continuing the neighboring movement and really believe that it is going to be one of our successful strategies in a post-COVID world. All right, next slide. Some of the things that we started doing when we first implemented our Healthy Congregations program was, well, what can we do? We hadn't gotten a grant yet. What can we do with no budget? We didn't have budget from the church. We didn't have any money. So we're looking for what are some immediate things that we can do to make an impact with no money, but a church has lots of people resources. And so we did a couple of things. And we did start the Cooking for Christ at that time because we had a young adult woman and a mom who was getting people together and helping us cook healthy snacks. That was BC, before COVID. And then COVID kind of shut those gatherings down. But it didn't shut down the ability to get outside and exercise. This didn't cost any money. All it did was take a little effort to advertise, and people responded. We call it the Holy Guacamoles. And we have right now 2 groups. Winter is kind of challenging. We'll get some more going. But here's a group of 4 women who came together, and they walk. They walk 2 to 3 times a week. This particular group walks in the morning. They all happen to be retired, so that helps. They can just talk to each other. They don't want a big group. In fact, in a COVID safe way, small groups were important, and there were lots of times that they wore their masks, and they would walk together. We're fortunate here at Aldersgate in that less than a mile away, we have Sedgwick County Park, which has some bicycle and walking paths, and they would meet there and walk. However, on cold days, they have talked to the management at Target, at Walmart, at the grocery store, and they've found ways to walk at light business hours, times inside the store. And, businesses don't mind that at all because it provides them with free eyes and ears within their store, people who would report problems or abuses that might take place. And so they love it to have the Holy Guacamoles come in. And so that's one of the things that we did that didn't cost any money, and we continue to do. Next slide. One of the other things that we are doing that we're real proud of, and that is called Well Rep. It's the word well with REP after it in all caps, which means well-rounded exercise program. It's kind of like sit and move, which you see being done in lots of places. But they meet on Mondays and Wednesdays at the church. It's a small group of people, and as you can see, they're all about 6 feet apart. So they are social distancing, even though they're not wearing masks right now. But they can if they want. And they meet for just an hour from 9:30 to 10:30. Right now, we have an agreement with the Health Sciences Department at WSU. They look for practicums for students who are in the health sciences. And this is the 3rd year now where a student comes and leads the exercise programs. Healthy congregations purchase the exercise bands that are being used, and people can use those, or we'll give you a set of exercise bands, or you can purchase your own if you don't want anybody else touching it. And that's a part of what Healthy Congregations does. So it's a very low cost way. Now, WSU student is off at times, spring break, fall break, winter break, no school days. And so this is in a room that has a video equipment that has a projector and a screen, but you could just use a TV, hook up a computer or a telephone to YouTube. And there are YouTube videos that are exercise programs. And so they've met even when the program is over. They wanted to continue meeting, and they use YouTube videos. That doesn't cost anything. And so that's alive and well. It's not a big group. We're not looking to have big groups because of the COVID safe concern. But I can tell you this, all we have to do is mention it in church that we're going to do this, and people show up. Now, because it's WSU has helped us some, we've had some community people that have come in and participated as well. And that's something that can easily be done. There's other things that our Healthy Congregations does. I should have took a picture of the Bike with the Pastor. We didn't do this during COVID, but we're going to start it again this year on the fourth Saturday of every month. I'm the pastor with the bike, and I just advertise it. Said I'm going to be at the parking lot at 7 a.m. on the fourth Saturday of the month, and anybody who wants to join me will be able to bike with the pastor. I bring my tire pump. I got a patch kit. I got a few wrenches in case somebody's having some trouble. And we're going to start that again on the fourth Saturday morning of each month during good weather. And we're going to ride. And I work out when I ride my bike early in the morning. I kind of scout out the routes that we take. Again, we're 1 mile from Sedgwick County Park, and we will go over there some, but we'll also ride through neighborhoods and take some safe routes. And yeah, so that's something that you can do for nothing, that's healthy. We've had children as young as 5 years old, and as I'm trying to think who the oldest might have been, probably in their 70s, who have gone. It's not a fast ride. And if somebody shows up and they want a fast ride, I will schedule with them to ride another time. And we can go 20, 30 miles if they would like to. So we're going to kind of hopefully enhance that a little bit this year. Also, I've been in concert with Bike Walk Wichita, and they're considering collaborating with us on Bike with the Pastor and offering it to the community. And if Bike Walk Wichita gets involved, they will help us have a resource person who can come from Bike Walk Wichita to help us with learn about bike maintenance, bicycle care, and that kind of thing. Well, I'm just going to mention a couple of other things, and then I'll be done. But we also, Healthy Congregations has helped purchase and keep up AED equipment, and that's that automatic external defibrillator stuff that'll talk you through stuff. And we're training people how to use those, but they buy supplies, new pads, new batteries when those are needed. Healthy Congregations provides first aid kits. Those are fairly cheap to have around the church, and they keep them up. They restock them so that the supplies don't get old. And those first aid kits, according to our policy, are required items to take on youth outings, to have at other kinds of events. They're easy to get a hold of. And Healthy Congregations has also purchased hearing kind of earmuffs for children for whom loud noises are difficult. And you can just get those relatively cheaply. We've got a bunch of those in the children's department, in the nursery. So if things get loud and it bothers a child, we can grab those and use those. Also, we have a grief support group. And that's another thing that didn't cost any money to get going. Just get people together who've lost loved ones. You put good people in a room together and good things will happen. And that group is the largest now than it has been in a long time. We have a minimum of 12 people who attend on the last Friday morning of the month. In fact, they're meeting tomorrow. One other thing that we're looking at is having hospice come to work with us on a Living Wills, DPOA, DNR seminar to help us we've had some deaths in the church where people weren't ready as they wanted to be. And so Healthy Congregations is thinking about having a hospice group come in, and they're prepared to do this. It don't matter what hospice group, they will travel too. And they will help with those kinds of things, and a seminar on handling the holidays, which we've done in November of each year for several years. Well, that's probably enough. I got one more slide to show you. This is what happens when you don't do Healthy Congregations. I would encourage you to look into it if you haven't already, because, bad things happen when we don't attend to our physical self, our mental well-being, and our spiritual well-being. I just found this slide, and I think it's funny because I ride a bicycle and I've almost done it one time. But we don't want this to happen to anybody in our congregation. And so that's why Healthy Congregations exists.
Yes, thank you so much, Pastor Brooks. Wonderful presentation. Love the last slide. That's hilarious. Now we can go ahead and talk with Pastor Gary, Pastor Brooks. And so you guys can unmute yourselves and ask him any questions you guys have. And let's talk across the virtual table. I have a question. I know I was so excited when you agreed to do the presentation today, because typically we hear most from lay leaders. And we do that because, within the UMC tradition, pastors, you move from, you guys get different appointments and you move to church. And so we typically try to focus on the lay leaders who will be there long after. And so when I got your email, I was just like, this is going to be great. I want to hear the perspective from the pastor. And so I'm just so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that you see the value in this program. And, I'm hoping that, to see more pastors get more involved with it. And maybe we need to encourage that more, because I think it's a good thing to see that the pastor believes in the program, believes in spiritual health, physical health, mental health, emotional health, and how that just transcends amongst the congregation.
Well, and I would say this, that some of this interest has been born out of my own personal journey of being overweight, of loving to ride a bicycle, and needing to be healthy myself. To do self-care. The clergy are a group of individuals who are probably some of the most unhealthy people in our culture today. And it doesn't have to be that way. And Healthy Congregations can be helpful. And if what I have modeled from the pulpit, there are people who in the pew will take on. I'll never forget, it was a few years ago, an elderly gentleman who's regular at church came up to me and said, I want you to know I walk every day and I've lost 30 pounds. And it's because of how I modeled my own journey and was transparent with that. And wow, how powerful is that? If you believe in what you're about as a pastor, others will join with you.
Yes. Amen. I love that. Do we have any questions for Pastor Brooks?
I have a question. I'm Joyce from Hutchinson.
Hi, Joyce.
I was kind of wondering about your Cooking with Christ sessions. Did people take things home, or did they just make it there and have it, or can you expand on that a little bit more?
Yeah, and they keep me out of the kitchen, so I'm not real versed about this, but we have a young woman who is a nutritionist, and that's what she does in her day job. and she's using it for the church. And when we've gotten together, they haven't been big groups that have gotten together. You'd think you'd have a church-wide event, but it might be 6 or so people that would show up. And we would literally cook or fix ingredients there, hands-on, interactive. And there would be times when she would kind of do it like they do on TV, cooking with somebody. And she would prepare the meal and then have the menu or the recipe for people to take home, that they can get the ingredients and then make it at home. So it's intended to be interactive. One time she did it during COVID, she did it on Zoom. That didn't go so well, so it works better in person.
I don't have any questions, but thanks for all the good suggestions.
All right, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and move on to our next speaker, which is from Wichita West Heights. Yes, and today we have, can you help me pronounce your name? Is it Cinda? And you're still on mute. Can you unmute yourself?
There we go. I don't know if I want to follow him.
No, you should.
I was thinking, oh my gosh, we don't have that on our list. We're just kind of,
No,
next
we're
year
just friends. We're just friends sharing ideas.
I'm
That's
subbing
all.
for Mindy Fresh. Some of you may know Mindy, who's awesome. But I'm on the Healthy Congregations Committee, and so I get to represent West Heights. So I will let you share the.
Okay.
I'm not fancy with the PowerPoint, but
Yeah, here we are.
we thought we were doing the bike program, but it's just, because of our insurance policy, so we pivoted to other areas, which were the that's great. I didn't proofread. Yoga, social justice, yes. What was the third? the Giving Grove, but yoga, we're kind of like Aldersgate. We have yoga in the church on Monday and Wednesday. We have floor exercise, floor yoga, and chair yoga, and it's a small group that meets in the basement. But it's people seem to enjoy it, but I don't know why I haven't joined it, but I should, because they talk about all the benefits of it. But it's open to anyone, with all ages and abilities. That ministry was already part of the church. In fact, Mindy, I think, was teaching it, but then with COVID, she dropped out of it. But so yoga, and then Mindy is so involved in the church and social justice. It's really a core value at West Heights, and with our even working with the reconciling ministry that we have. But each month in the church newsletter, Mindy prepares an insert, and recent themes, like for April, she had a segment on Earth Day, ways that we can be good stewards of the earth. And you can read that, but swapping plants instead of throwing them out. It's like, oh, okay, that's something I need to do. And clothing, book, or toy exchange. We have an upcoming garage sale that, that would be a good thing. Just come and exchange, or, take it home without paying for it. I like this: take ownership of your street, keep it cleaned up. That was an idea. Talk to neighbor about recycling. Wichita has a strong kind of curbside recycling program, but it does cost. So, trying to encourage people to work with their neighbors so that you can share your recycle tub. Well, it's not really a tub. And then she encouraged people to learn about the church orchard. We say orchard, and people say, "Where's the orchard? Where's the orchard?" Well, I can look out and see a tree here, and 2 trees, and then another tree, and we did have 2 cherry bushes. But I'll talk about that later. But in March, Mindy's theme was educate ourselves to a social justice issue. And she had a whole page of scripture and messages relating to educating ourselves about becoming socially aware of injustices. February, social justice with intention. She said, mentioned, you pray, do you have a journal? Go out and be involved with nature and just enjoy the stillness. Our associate pastor, she had sunset walks. She invited people to come to the church and they'd walk and we have a beautiful view of the sunset because we have a park that's just to the west of us. And then being involved in the community. I'd say a highlight of the social justice aspect of our healthy congregations is the books that have been purchased for our church library, aimed at social justice, and a lot of books for children too. And Reconciling Ministry has been very good about recommending books that will help young people be aware of differences. And of course, this is what's happening with the state is that we don't want to be involved with those kind of problems, but I don't say problem, those kind of issues, but it's so important for us to bring up that we are a reconciling church, and we're very proud of that. The Giving Grove, well, really, that's part of it. That's not really our name. We haven't come up with our own name for it, but I had a bulletin board up for a whole year of, and it shouldn't have been up a whole year, but we had a Saturday where we planted. Yeah, there's our group. Probably some people weren't involved in it, but we had training from the Giving Grove people, wonderful support and training. We had, gosh, I don't know how long the training was for the Giving Grove project, but we are learning. Goodness, I didn't realize you have to pinch the blossoms in order to have it bear fruit. I didn't know that in 3 years, we have to wait 3 years before we have fruit. But our goal is we're in the second year. And so we haven't pinched the blossoms yet. Some of the blossoms are, that one had some, but it doesn't now. But we had a small group that came and pinched the blossoms of the trees. We had the 2 cherry bushes, and they were named Romeo and Juliet, but one of them died. So now we just have one. And don't ask me who died, Romeo or Juliet. So, but hopefully next year we will be able to, the bush and the trees will bear fruit, and the community, it will be open to anyone. It's not just for the church. If you want to walk by and see an apple, you're welcome to it. But was it apple, pear, peach, and cherries? So it's kind of all around the church, the south of the church, the west, we have west of the church, and kind of the north part of the church. So okay. We thought we were going to do the big garden, and because across the parking lot, I see that a city park, and so we thought, okay, where could we have the big garden? But that was during COVID, and we didn't have a leader, didn't really quite have the momentum that we had hoped for. So we decided to focus more of our efforts on the orchard. So once we have fruit, there will be hopefully our church members don't eat all the fruit. But we're dreaming of pies and giving some of the fruits away as well. We've more community engagement, probably because of the yoga classes, but we do allow walking inside the church. I don't know that we really advertise that, but we do this, and we have groups that have a small payment for. We have basketball groups that come in. We have volleyball. We used to have pickleball, but pickleball hasn't gotten started yet. We have a Girl Scout group, so the community is open to come and use the church. I think our Boy Scout group is on hold right now. But, you know, we live close to Central and Tyler Road. So there are a lot of homes nearby. In Peterson School, we work with Peterson School as far as, which may not be part of the Healthy Congregations, but just, you know, collecting school supplies and clothes for them. And the hospitality committee does projects. Well, I guess thanking the teachers for their efforts. I don't know if Mindy reported on it wasn't part of Healthy Congregations, but it's more during COVID, our Hearts Caring and Sharing, to where we have a member who was just had every member's name on a spreadsheet, and the Caring and Sharing Committee, Membership Care Committee, we went through every name, and we had volunteers that would be kind of advocates and calling people. So I'm trying to think, we had about 40 members that had maybe, what we have, about 5 to 7 or 8, 9 people that they would call at least twice a month to check in on them during COVID. Now we're in phase 2. There aren't as many members who are involved with that, but people that are homebound, people that we know have health conditions, then we contact them and check in with them. So that's been a positive program that we have. It's not really part of our, I don't know what goes on, but you probably know because you're more involved in the leadership part of it. But you know, it seems like everything we do is more of to make us healthy, you know, whether spiritual or just personal health. But I think, do I have any? Oh, I think I have a few more pictures, don't I? Or do I not? Down. Okay. Yes, I asked Mindy about including our mutt mitts. We had a church council meeting, and since we live by the city park, and I would take my dog there, it's like people do not carry their own little bags with them for the waste. So at the church council, we said, well, we could do that. So Jason Russell, who at the time was our lay leader and is now our council president, he called the city and they agreed to put the pole up, and there's the mutt mitts, and the city put up the pole and we provide the bags. So, and it says, was it, I don't know, puppy poop or something. And so, you know, I can look out and see that. I walked out today to take the mutt mitt. So hopefully people are using that. Maybe the community will be more healthy, because there's a lot of walking that goes around in this park. So we're thankful to the city for allowing us to do that. And it didn't take them long to get it up. Let's see, is there anything else down there? Oh, disposable face masks. We had ever since COVID, we had a long time, our membership care mask ministry, to where we made masks and they were free to anyone. And one of our members even made them for men with beards. Now that we're not, mask wearing is optional, we don't really need as many. But should we ever need more disposable masks, then Healthy Congregation is going to help supply those. But it's been a long time coming. We're thankful not to wear the mask, but if we need to, and it's just individual choice. So I don't know, and I know I talk fast. I used to teach, so I didn't. Okay, I think I didn't use all my time. So I love all the ideas. I've been taking notes, and I will get these to Mindy and our committee. We finally are, Healthy Congregations is a part of our church council. So we, I think we just have like 5 members on the committee, but as Mindy said, I think earlier, she said, we're small, but we're I don't know if you use the word determined.
Mighty, you're mighty.
Mighty, yeah. Thank you.
Mama.
Yeah, just to make an impact. There's so much we can do, just so much more. Our blessing box gets, we have a blessing box, and I think healthy congregations maybe help, some with that. I'm not sure, but it's, we have individuals, we have families, and we have church circles that sign up through Sign Up Genius to provide food for the blessing box. So, okay, that's. I don't think there's any more on that page.
Nope, that's it. That was really great. That was great. Thank you so much for sharing.
Wow, thank you.
We can all unmute ourselves and we can ask questions or just, talk to one another, throw out more ideas. This is still like a brainstorming session. Our meeting ends at 1:30, but feel free to, if you need to jump off, you can. But yeah, so let's just talk to each other. I know the renewal application is due June 30th. And so maybe you're needing some fresh ideas. Maybe you're needing to just, share your ideas out loud with us, and we can, tell you our thoughts. If you're like a verbal processor like me, who just needs to talk and get it all out, you can do that now as well. And so I appreciate the speakers for taking the time to present and share what they have done with their churches. I appreciate your time and I honor your time, and I am so thankful for the work that you all do. Any questions?
Okay. Well, I was going to add one thing with the blessing boxes. Joanne Parks from Emporia Grace. And we make, one of the things we make is a little kit that we put in the blessing box, and it's called it's a personal care kit. Shampoo, soap, conditioner, toothpaste, toothbrush. There's 10 items in there. And we go around town and we put those in we make those up and put them in the blessing boxes.
Oh, good idea.
And also, we make those for the SOS here in town. And they call me anytime they're getting low on them as they use them up. And we've provided many of the care kits for them too. And that's just one of the items. Because people, yes, they need the food, but they also need some these items to keep healthy. So,
yes, no, we've started one of our. We have now have a facilitator for a blessing box, and she, they need detergent. She said, if you buy Hamburger Helper, well, they need the hamburger. So maybe don't put in as much Hamburger Helper, and everybody gets spaghetti at the food banks or open door. So just kind of, I don't know, breaking the mold of what we ordinarily think.
Right.
I know at Easter time, I put in like some little stuffed rabbits. Maybe there are some children and they were taken right away. But yes, that's a wonderful. What is the SOS program?
It's for women who are abused or have to, social. I can't remember what it stands for.
Okay.
But they take women and children in who need to leave the home for safety reasons. And so we have a private house where they are located, and it's and so we just provide for them. We also made the kits for the college students at our campus ministry. And another thing we put in the blessing boxes is we have a list of every place in Emporia that all the churches, everywhere where you can get free food.
Oh, wonderful.
And we printed that up and we keep those in the blessing boxes. And so that, if they go to this place, they might try another area too. So
great idea.
Yes, yes.
It's not really part of family or part of healthy congregations, but we start on Sunday to host 4 different families for Family Promise.
Yes,
Yes, and that's been so good for
yes.
our church. It's a wonderful program. I would encourage, if you have access to participate in that.
Yes, we're active with the Family Promise.
Good,
too.
good.
Yes,
Isn't
yes.
it wonderful?
Yes,
It's
it
awesome.
is. Yes.
It's awesome. It's
Yes.
awesome.
Hi, this is Sharon from Lincoln, Nebraska. Can we get a copy of the slides?
Yes, so we are recording this webinar. So this webinar will be on our website, healthfund.org, in a few days. And the PowerPoints will also be made available on our website.
Okay, thank you.
You're
I must
welcome.
leave. Goodbye.
No problem. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Danica, do you have any, are you going to
Great
have
ideas.
any, do you have any suggestions in filling out the report? Is there anything we need to do different, or is it pretty much the
Yeah.
same as it was last year?
Yeah, I think my suggestion would be definitely meet with your team. Make sure you guys are all on the same page with one another about what you want to do. Also, I would also like, this is the thing that I've noticed the most, like really evaluate the things that you guys do. Because I've talked with churches and churches who have like kind of lost some motivation. And I'm talking with them and they'll say, oh, but we're still teaching kids how to swim. And I'm just like, you can still write that in your report. Like you can still use grant dollars for that project. And so there could be things that you guys are doing already that you can include in your AC
Yes.
report, or that you can apply the grant funds to. So make sure you're really evaluating all the wonderful things that you guys are doing, because I'm pretty sure that it falls in physical health, emotional health, mental health, spiritual health. So I would definitely suggest that, because I've noticed that churches tend to overlook that. And I think maybe it's just, being humble and trying to, I don't know, but you guys do a lot of great things that can be counted and can be used for the money. Also,
Right.
If you don't have any ideas, I would say always look at our special grant opportunities. Those are all always available to you all as Healthy Congregation churches. And then lastly, I would say the needs assessment. Now, the needs assessment is due every 5 years,
yes.
depending on your city name. And so you don't have to fill it out every year, but I would still recommend that you just review it. Even if you
Yes.
review it and you press in and you didn't make any changes, just review it and make sure that those things still apply. Make sure, those things still align with your community goals or with your congregation goals. I think those would be my suggestions. Also, don't be too shy or too hesitant to contact me. I love speaking with you all on the telephone or through email.
Okay.
Also, talking with Judy Johnson, she's amazing.
Yes, she is.
And also Katie, our director of programs. So always, if you need some ideas, if you need anything, please we're just a phone call away or email away. I know some of you have my cell phone number, and so text me if you want to. I'm available. Okay. So those are my suggestions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
For those, this is not part of Healthy Congregations, but for those of you that have preschools, our preschool director, Linda Gott, has received 2 $30,000 grants. She received another grant that is $9,000 for 9 months, $81,000 for the preschool. So the money is there, So I would encourage you to get with your preschool director and check it out.
Yes, our preschool received a large grant too
Good,
in
good.
Emporia. But but there's a shortage of preschools too. There's yes.
Yeah.
So, but is it okay, Danica, then if we keep the same programs, we just continue with them? Is that
Oh, yeah.
still yeah.
Yes, yes. If it's working, then that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to, reinvent the wheel or anything like that. So if
Okay.
it's working,
Okay.
then it's working, definitely. Also,
Yeah.
another suggestion is, and Pastor Brooks talked about this, don't be afraid to collaborate with other community organizations or with your
Yes.
neighbors too. That's also
Yes.
a really fun opportunity.
Yes. Our orchard,
Mhm.
we went with Big Garden. The orchard is with our Abundant Harvest, who is they give free meals. And so we partner with them. We provide funds for their water and supplies they need. So we're partner. We've been doing that for a couple of years. And it's so good. And like we're partnering with SOS to let them know when they need health kits. And we also have the community garden, which we rent plots and we give plots to the neighborhood, for our garden. So we're really partnering with the community. That's our goal, is to reach out into the community.
Sounds like you achieved your goal.
Yes, one thing we did this year was we did the shoes for kids. We started in August, and we took anybody, we felt they had to fill out an application, but we provided shoes for any school children from ages 5 through high school, anybody that needed them. And we partnered really with the high school, and we also got a grant to help with that too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think if we keep doing what we're doing, I think we're going to keep on the plus side. But it's good to hear what other churches are doing. It really is. It really does help.
Awesome. Thank you. Are there any questions, comments, concerns? If not, then we can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm going to share my name and my contact information in the chat box if you need
Okay.
it.
Thank you, Danica. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you so much. And thank you to all the speakers again.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Springs approach for a meeting once a year.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Will we ever have a retreat at Rock Springs again?
Oh,
yes. Yes, I know.
Yes, that was great. Yes.
Yes, I actually have never been because I started working at the Health Fund a few months before COVID started. So I haven't had the experience. But I've heard that it's a good time.
They're
I've
awesome.
heard it's a good time.
I mean, do you think we'll have it again?
Yes, we'll definitely have it again. It might look a little different, but we'll have it again. Definitely not this year. Maybe, and I do say maybe next year, 2023. We're still trying to figure out how we can gather at that scale and still be safe, and then also just keeping it open. We don't know what it's going to be like, like a year from now. And so, but we do want to have retreats again, and we do want to meet with you all and fellowship and be in community with you all. So we're constantly thinking of ways that we can make that happen. And we will definitely keep you updated when it does, because it will. I'm just writing down my email. But thank you. It's nice to hear. I'm sure my coworkers will be happy to hear how much you guys miss retreat and how helpful that was.
Okay. Thank you so much, Danica.
You're very welcome. Are there any other questions? Oh, thank you. Yes. Well, I'll go ahead and close this out. Again, thank you all so much for being here with us today. Please feel free to reach out to me. I did put my information in the chat box. My information is also on our website, healthfund.org. And yes, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And best of luck on your renewal applications, and just keep in mind that we are always here. Have a great weekend and God bless. Bye.
You too.